For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, 11 years after letting Jeffrey Epstein off lightly with a secret deal, federal prosecutors made another run at putting the billionaire financier behind bars on sex charges, accusing him Monday of abusing dozens of underage girls as young as 14 years old. The 66-year-old hedge fund manager, who once socialized with some of the world's most powerful people, was charged in a newly unsealed indictment with sex trafficking and conspiracy, and could get up to 45 years in prison. The Associated Press reports that prosecutors said the evidence includes a vast trove of hundreds or even thousands of lewd photographs of young women or girls. The evidence was discovered in a search of Epstein's New York mansion. Epstein, who was arrested over the weekend as he arrived in the U.S. from Paris aboard his private jet, was brought into court Monday in a blue gel uniform, his hair disheveled, and pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued that the matter had been settled a decade ago with a plea agreement in Florida involving similar allegations. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Mauritanian authorities restored access to the internet after disrupting it for 10 days, following the disputed presidential elections of June 23rd. Activist Post reports the government continues to restrict press freedom and freedom of expression as part of its post-election crackdown. Government-backed candidate Mohammed Ould Ghazouani garnered 52% of the vote, but widespread allegations of fraud have marred the election. 3 opposition candidates, including anti-slavery activist Bahram Dahabid, who came third with 18% of the votes, challenged the results before the Constitutional Council. Small protests disputing the results also took place in the capital. On Monday, July 1st, the council dismissed the opposition's appeal, confirming Ould Ghazouani as the country's next president on the basis of insufficient evidence for the opposition's allegations of fraud. A small study conducted by researchers at the University of Saskatchewan adds to the growing body of evidence that cannabis can be used to successfully treat seizures in children. That's according to the CBC. The Mind Unleashed reports a study funded by Jim Pattison's Children's Hospital Foundation monitored 7 children suffering from severe pediatric epilepsy, in which up to 1,200 seizures a month are common. On average, the overall reduction in seizures was close to 75%, while 3 of the 7 children stopped having seizures altogether. And while the study may have been small, it confirmed a growing body of evidence supporting the known efficacy of cannabis for a variety of ailments. In fact, there are already FDA-approved treatments for seizures associated with certain conditions, such as Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome, both of which are rare. The non-psychoactive CBD found in marijuana was famously used in 2013 to treat seizures in Charlotte Figge, a 3-year-old from Colorado who suffered from severe 30-minute seizures. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Saying that he has no idea what to make of the mixed signals, Aria man Pete Summers told reporters today he keeps getting ambiguous text messages from local woman Haley Mueller, claiming that she's not at all interested in him.
One minute she's like, I don't want to go out with you. And then she'll mention how she has to go hang out with her boyfriend. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that?
Summers, who first met Mueller at a friend's party last month, informed reporters that the 27-year-old's increasingly perplexing text messages have left him unable to ascertain whether or not she would want to date him. He also noted that Mueller's behavior at social gatherings was equally vague.
Last weekend, we were at a party, and every time I would go up to her, she just said, "Leave me alone." Then I texted her the next day, and She totally doesn't even respond. I mean, she just needs to make up her mind and tell me what she wants. She hasn't answered my last 3 phone calls, so maybe I should go over there and make sure everything's okay.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. As always, you can take control of the airwaves. That number's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And we've got a terrifying story here, that's the word I was looking for, about how the FBI and ICE are using driver's license photos without owner's knowledge or consent. Evidently, it's a gold mine for the facial recognition software being used by the FBI and by ICE. Harkens back, I think, quite a bit to the Chinese government and what they're doing in certain regions.
They have that social credit system of theirs, and they're tracking all their citizens. I mean, you knew that at some point or another that some government was going to come along and say, yeah, this is not such a bad idea. Let's try that.
It absolutely was. But evidently, let's go to the phones because this is Free Talk Live, and you can talk about whatever you want. Let's go to the phones. We've got Stone calling in from North Carolina. Stone, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, thanks, Aria and Mark. Mark, I was listening to your show from last night, and I just wanted to possibly correct some of the things that were said based on what I've been reading on the internet, if you don't mind.
No, go right ahead.
So apparently there's a...
So we were talking about last night the... what's the guy's name? The billionaire? Epstein, yeah.
Who was arrested for child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was that easy. It was like rearrested for child sex, rearrested and now recharged on a conviction that he's already had. It's very bizarre stuff.
Well, the first time he got a hell of a deal from the prosecutors.
Well, I mean...
And it seems like he's been back up to his old tricks.
And he rendered assistance to the FBI as a part of that agreement, and I think that that's a real problem.
But it also carried with it the stipulation that none of his co-conspirators could be charged.
Well, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of problems, obviously, with the system and how it works. You know, the oligarchy of having a rich and powerful group of people running hundreds of millions of people's lives. And there's kind of an example of how it's compounded. And obviously, we agree on a lot of issues. So so children or people, you know, that are teenagers should have a certain amount of autonomy and be able to contract and such. But you had said last night, I believe, that the girls were getting paid thousands of dollars, or at least
I think Ian said from $200 to $1,000 was what the article said. No, but I mean
that sounds like a pretty good deal.
It's just a reporting.
Yeah. So there's a book. I'm looking at the New York Post or NYPost.com article from 2016. And it's basically talking about a book called Filthy Rich by James Patterson, where a lot of the information about these allegations is...
James Patterson writes fiction, does he not?
I don't know.
That seems like an important question.
But all right, go ahead.
But the subtitle of the book is The Shocking True Story of Jeffrey Epstein.
All right.
And anyway, so I guess the issue is, for me, that one of the allegations in the book is that a girl who went by the name of Allison was purportedly hired as a teenager for giving him a massage, and she made it explicitly clear that she didn't want to be penetrated, and her allegation is that he bent her over the table and penetrated her. And for massages, if you're hired to do a massage, even an erotic massage, for $100 or $200, and the client bends you over the table without your explicit consent.
Well, that's rape in any context.
Yep, that's rape.
Exactly.
I mean, regardless of the ages of the people involved or what they had agreed to prior to that.
Right.
Penetrating someone without their consent is rape.
Exactly.
But I looked into
the allegations.
And James Patterson is indeed a fiction writer.
It doesn't mean he can't write nonfiction. Tom Clancy wrote some nonfiction books about tank warfare.
But I'm concerned it's going to be more along the lines of what Dan Brown does, which is essentially take an idea and say, this is 100% based on fact, and then it's not.
I don't want to be put into the realm of defending this Epstein person. He sounds like a despicable human being, and I think I used the term sick a half a dozen times last night in talking about it.
Well, I would have to ask, what were the ages of the girls that he was sleeping with, honestly?
I think they started with 14 was the lowest age that we were told about.
No, 13. There are 13-year-olds that are alleging to have been penetrated.
Okay. There you go. So 13 is the age. And that, to me, seems too young for to be able to make a fully informed decision about these sorts of things. However, if I end up in a situation where I'm trying to determine, well, do we need a state to solve this particular problem? No, I think this is ultimately comes down to bad parenting. I don't have a 13-year-old girl, but I do have an 11-year-old boy. And he's never been in a situation where some stranger could possibly offer him some ridiculous amount of money. I mean, if your 13-year-old's going someplace to give a 66-year-old billionaire a massage, you've got parenting problems.
Yeah, I tend to think most of the parents were aware of this, and most of the parents probably facilitated it.
I don't know.
I'm speculating, to be fair.
I agree that the government does exacerbate problems of parenting and through taking children and putting them in homes, and a lot of the children that have been working with the prosecutors are from group homes or other kind of social homes. The
guy sounds like a predator. They're always going to find the way to find the weak. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Certainly.
But I bet the girl spent the money too.
Yeah, more than likely, definitely. I mean, but I'm just saying. So the government exacerbates the problem by making it illegal to contract for certain services, even for adults, and then children or teenagers in this situation, they're already involved in a black market activity of erotic massage on an adult. So it definitely makes it very difficult to
report things. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that reporting it would have done much good. One of the parents of these girls did, in fact, report it to the police, and it was what led to his 13-month incarceration, where he spent 12 hours a day in work release, despite the fact that sex offenders are not supposed to be granted work release in that county in the first place. So I don't know what good reporting it would really have done. I'm not sure that as long as there wasn't any coercion and violence involved, that he really did anything immoral.
Well, it sounds like there was. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this guy had, it was clear he thrived on power.
Certainly.
And
I mean, most billionaires do. That's how they became billionaires.
It doesn't surprise me. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like this guy thrives on power, and a guy that thrives on power when they get, once they're in the room with the young gal, it appears that it's gals in this circumstance, then, that they use a little bit of force to get what he wants. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think that he's thinking about the libertarian lines between what is coercion and what is voluntary action, and the haziness that, being a post-pubescent adolescent, and how all the minutia of it all.
I would agree.
I imagine he's not. I imagine he's just saying, I'm going to get mine. And as I understand it, we're talking about, in some cases, 2 times a day. This is a voracious appetite for, I don't know, abuse. Sounds like it to me, but
exactly. And I guess my point is that in a libertarian world, it might be possible for people to have sex with teenagers legitimately, but when you're dealing with someone, a very sophisticated adult who has much more intelligence and experience in manipulating people, and they're willing to use threats of violence, they're willing to use intimidation, and essentially the force, the threat of force from an adult against a young teenager, I think is And like I said, in the case that some of these children.
Well, you're not necessarily wrong. I would agree that the state's presence in this entire thing really screws things up. Stone, we want to thank you for the call. If you have thoughts on the subject, give us a call. That number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com.
With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves with 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-3733. I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. They have launched local.bitcoin.com. It's a trading platform allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or just meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy, and I am absolutely in love with it. Visit local.
Yeah, you were talking about it just before the show.
It's great. I had an extremely positive experience. Localbitcoins.com, which is a different site, obviously. It has a much higher concentration of scammers on it. But today I found myself in a situation at local.bitcoin.com where a PayPal payment had been disputed because I had been asleep and couldn't give the guy his Bitcoin Cash. I didn't even know there was a trade happening, right? So at one point during this fiasco, he had both the PayPal money and the Bitcoin Cash. And he still called me, contacting me about it, and we got it worked out. He ended up sending me back the Bitcoin Cash that I had released to him.
Impressive.
It's not anything that I would have expected to happen at localbitcoins.com, but at local.bitcoin.com, I really wish they would add exchange.bitcoin.com. To me, that would just help to give it
You
its
should
own
just
identity.
stop using the other place's term. Just the other place.
That's
is
true.
Probably easier
The
to
other
say.
place. Yeah, you're absolutely
The other
right.
place isn't paying, so they don't need their name mentioned.
Well, I mean, it's a better,
I understand. You're clear.
It's a better mirror of that other place.
Right.
Certainly.
They've learned many of the problems that other place has had and solved many of them too.
Indeed.
Not all of them.
The end-to-end encryption is absolutely great. Nobody at local.bitcoin.com has access to your private messages unless there's a dispute. I've had 2 disputes. They were both resolved within hours by contacting the arbitrators, and it's just all around awesome. Go check it out. That's local.bitcoin.com. Let's get back to the phones. We've got Dan, who is calling in from Nebraska. Dan, you are on Free Talk Live.
Thank you. So I want to talk about that last guy's call.
Sure.
Particularly, you guys, I'm not going to lie. I think it's really kind of an embarrassment a lot when I see, and I understand the want to be principled, but I think it couldn't be lost on you that libertarians have now kind of got a reputation online for, I don't want to say stumping for ephebophilia, but
That's the reputation, though, right?
Stumping for what?
Pedophilia. Yeah, I think that people who can't make cogent intellectual arguments do tend to boil things down into the easiest parts.
Certainly.
So pedophilia, as you know, it probably, is not even coming into play here. We're talking about post-pubescent people, so pedophilia...
I said ephebophilia.
Oh, ephebophilia. Okay, I'm sorry. That's the way I pronounce it is ephebophilia. Maybe I've heard it wrong. I don't know. And, yeah, so...
I mean, you realize that for centuries, for even thousands of years, 25, 26-year-old men took 13, 14-year-old wives, right?
Well,
I mean, this
for
whole,
thousands of years.
men
I mean,
absolutely
you wanna
cannot
talk
have...
about-
Hold on.
Let him answer. Go ahead.
You mean most of the things that we're doing thousands of years ago, we find to be absolutely abhorrent now?
Yeah.
I don't think that argument holds up. Most things that we did back in the year 0 should probably never be done again.
I'm not sure what examples you're referring to. To me, society is
talking about
largely the same.
slavery?
Slavery still exists, sir. We have
Okay,
slavery
well,
right now in the United States. We just call it imprisoning. That's why the drug war came about at the same time.
Yeah, I think let me take another tactic with this. I think that yes, I agree with you that this is the direction that people want this pointed. Now, again, if anybody asks me my opinion on when people are old enough to have sex, my opinion is when you can keep your own domicile, meaning that you can then take care of your own child, then you're old enough. So I would say that
So
many
that's like 26, 27 years old in most cases.
There you go.
Wow.
Fine. So that makes me somebody who had, I think, sex the first time at 17 years old, which is pretty average for somebody, for a male my age. too young because I was not keeping my own domicile. I was sneaking out of my house and to, do these sorts of things. And then the consequences of my actions would likely have fallen on my parents. And that, in my opinion, that makes you too young. So, however, if you're asking me to be fair in the Epstein case, then I need to look at both sides. And I think that mostly in the Epstein case, what we have here is one rich, powerful guy hiding the actions of many rich, powerful guys. And what I would like to see, if I got my druthers, is for Epstein to finally get to roll on these people. And then for them, I believe that he, from a legal standpoint, has paid his price. That it's not okay to subvert 1,000 years of English common law in order to go get this guy who's done something bad. If he got himself a sweetheart deal, fine and dandy. But I would like to know very much what went on with Clinton and Trump and all these other people, and I'd like all the names out there too. But then again, we found out a lot of things in the Panama Papers, and nobody remembers those either. So go ahead, caller.
All right, and I do understand the point there about I guess you don't want to have to create a standard that would really make justice worse for a lot of other people just because of this one case.
That's correct.
I think the thing though is what I would say is, and I mean, I'm not going to talk as if I am a libertarian because I'm not, but I think that optically I'm incredibly turned off when I hear this kind of stuff about the age of consent. And then
what do you do about that? I mean, give me some advice here. I would like to know, as a libertarian. Hold on, let me flesh the question out. We'll give you plenty of time here.
For sure.
Don't worry. I'm going to flesh the question out. So, as age of consent is a real question. Every one of us has had an age of consent question at some point in our lives, whether it's age of consent to see an R movie, when to have sex, when to be able to smoke a cigarette, when to be able to have a drink, when to be able to drive a car, and a whole variety of freedoms out there. I think it's complicating because it's yucky for me, a 48-year-old, to talk about when kids can have sex. But ultimately, as a talk show host in the sphere of libertarianism, these questions are going to come up because we believe that adults should be able to make what the decisions they want to make so long as they don't harm other people. However, when you have a caveat like adults, you need to determine when does adulthood exist. And I think the answer, for me is it's difficult to just say an age. And if you say an age, then all kinds of questions come up about that age. And I really love to get your full thought-out answer on that here in a moment.
Dan, you've got a moment to think about it. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment to get Dan's answer to that. Ruffling people's feathers today, talking about ephebophilia,
right.
I think is
age
the term.
of consent.
855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com. Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves, 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Or if you want clearer quality, hop on over to the Discord server at discord.lrn.fm and use one of the call-in lines there. Let's get right back into it. We've got Dan from Nebraska. Dan, you're back with us now on Free Talk Live. Mark had a question for you.
Yeah, let me rephrase it very quickly, Dan, so you don't have to just sort of go from memory on that. The question is basically, what do the idea of age of consent plagues libertarianism. As you have pointed out, you're like, I don't like libertarians. I won't call myself a libertarian because age of consent. And I get it, man. I don't think it's a real hindrance to calling yourself a libertarian, because a libertarian would say that an adult has the right to make whatever decisions they want so long as they don't harm other people. And that leaves the term age of consent out, because only adults are able to make those statements. And if you dislike libertarianism, you should dislike it for a different reason other than this.
Well,
but in the world where with age of consent, it's a question. Go ahead.
I consider myself a leftist. This is certainly not my only gripe with libertarians.
Okay, great. Then let's hit on this one.
But what I was going to say is I actually don't particularly think, first off, that there's anything wrong with the idea of taking cases as far as like, the difference between sex, smoking, these things, and making distinctions based on based on things that are arbitrary. I don't think decisions that are arbitrary. I think that's what a lot of people think is, oh, that's just your opinion.
I agree in a lot of ways, and I think what you're getting at is that we're essentially waiting until the Earth has revolved around the sun enough times, and we go, oh, suddenly, magically, you're an adult. And for me, age of consent is not about age at all. It's about maturity and experience, not number of years old one is. I lost my virginity at 13. People ask, well, did you feel ready? I'm like, I didn't feel ready or unready. I wanted to do a thing. So I did a thing. People act like it's this great, monumental, life-changing decision, and in like 99.9% of cases, it simply isn't, I would argue.
I'd say it's life-changing, but it's usually yucky. Go ahead.
So I guess what I would say is, and when you make this example about like how many days, I understand like how that puts into respect the arbitrariness, because truly, I don't know necessarily that I could get out a logic equation and actually work out for you a totally solid and consistent thing about, as far as age across that entire board, which is why I would say I actually think that trying to make that an important part of the discussion, like it should be a part of it for sure. We shouldn't just be ridiculous, but I also think that's just a hindrance to good governance and good society to try to be stuck on.
Well, to me, the line on the calendar is just as arbitrary as the line on a map that we call
It's not arbitrary in this case. We were talking about the Epstein case here, and almost all of this hinges on the age of the young ladies in question. And
I'm saying it shouldn't.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but the everybody else is saying otherwise, right? And
I'm used to taking that position.
If Epstein went ahead and had some system for bringing in 18-year-old and 19-year-old gals,
like Hugh Hefner.
Like Hugh Hefner did, then he would have been Hugh Hefner and not Epstein and convicted and all these other things. And that's really so. I mean, age of consent is pivotal in this particular case, and I don't have a solution for it. For me, it's like, God. I mean, I look at situations like I'm looking at Billy Joel here was 66 when he married, that was Anthony Hopkins at 66 when he married a 47-year-old. I'm seeing Billy Joel was 55 when he married a 23-year-old. I'm just going through list of here's Rupert Murdoch at 68. And I mean, the list goes on. Basically, every older guy in Hollywood who has the money goes out and, gets himself a younger wife. And it's all yucky. But it's not criminal. It's criminal in Epstein's case because, well, they were under some arbitrary age. And if you force me to say what that age is, I'm going to come up short. I'm going to say probably 16.
Can I ask what makes it yucky for a 55-year-old to take a 23-year-old wife?
I don't know.
Is it because the woman is sleeping with the older man, or is it because the man is sleeping with the younger woman?
Go ahead, caller. You feel
I think that I think when you're talking about 55 and 23, that societally we understand that 55 and 23 are where we don't belong, but still there's plenty of, I'm going to say, familial and social and cultural sanction that comes to those situations.
Sure.
That's rightfully so. I think that it's good that we have different lines where we know if it's 13, you should be legally sanctioned. We know that. But maybe if you get a little bit older, that's only for social sanction. I think it's good to have both cultural and legal standards. And I think it's good that they're different. Because I think that's the best way to make the distinction about how much we're going to accept these kinds of things as a society. When do we say, I'm not going to get in the way?
Shouldn't those societal standards inform the governmental standards, though? Like, shouldn't the government outlaw those things?
The problem is that we're saying that there's an American society, and that is bull crap. Okay, Elvis Presley married Priscilla Presley at some ridiculously low age, and actually waited. Likely, he had sex with her earlier than that. But he was an Appalachian. Same with Loretta Lynn. She married very young to her husband, whatever the heck his name was. I mean, history's forgotten him. I'm sure somebody's screaming at their radio right now what the guy's name is. But whatever. I mean, like, here we are, the effete Northeasterners telling the Appalachians how they should live. Well, I mean, no, there's all kinds of cultures. What about the Aleutians out there in Alaska? Nobody pays any attention to them until suddenly they decide to get married at 14. Or have sex at 14. I think we should, in a lot of cases, just butt out of these people's business.
Okay, I get what you mean by that. I think that, so here's what I would say is, as far as...
you said you're a leftist, right?
No, let him answer. Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with the idea of saying, the plurality and the... or some kind of our society have understood at now what the most that we do about this, and can try to draw the lines to guide us the best we can. They might change in the future because they're wrong, but just like science, we will only try to become more and more correct as time goes on. Certainly, right now, the standards we're using about some things, I will probably think pretty regrettably about when I'm your age, because I'm only 20. So I get that much. I don't think that should stand in the way of the idea of trying to be corrective, trying to create good society. And frankly, I'll tell you, in the case of other cultures, I actually don't have a problem with saying this other culture wrong about something like this. Cultures that want to have 13-year-olds marrying men maybe 3-4 times their age, if that was the thing, that's not okay.
Thing.
I think we should just call that not okay.
Should we invade them?
Well, you're judging them according to your own cultural standards.
And that's fine. Should we invade them? Because that stuff's going on around the world. Yes. Should we bring military force?
I don't want to invade them over this. I think that's the kind of governance that belongs intra our society.
Okay.
Not necessarily something we need to.
So we should only use violence against individuals, not like whole groups of people that accept it. A societal level.
We should only use violence against people who are a part of our own,
our own society. Well, it's nice to know you've got a society that you can control now. He's 20 years old and he has a society of his own. I say, I'm not part of your society. I joined the Shire Society. Go to shiresociety.org if you want to join my society, where we leave each other alone. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits at MyPatriotSupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at MyPatriotSupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves. That number is 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Or if you want clearer quality, hop on over to the Discord server, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, before we get back into this discussion of Epstein and age of consent more specifically, do you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty? Do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with the bumper sticker, and you know people love to read them. Check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at libertystickers.com. I actually looked into them recently, attempting to get some stickers made for Freedom Female Fest coming up at Fork Fest in 2020. That's libertystickers.com. Definitely go check them out. It's an awesome site for all of your favorite libertarian stickers. Now,
I love it. I've got several stickers from them.
Speaking of libertarian stuff,
right.
The caller Dan was not wrong. The age of consent is definitely, as you were talking about, it's the weak underbelly of libertarians.
Yes, I mean, and he's correct that this is the way, in some cases, libertarians have been framed on the internet. And libertarians aren't above using this particular divisive issue, the age of consent, to sort of fight each other. There is for those who don't know, a much lauded issue that happened with Free Talk Live and us being banned from the Porcupine Freedom Festival over, well, Ian's comments or perceived comments, because a lot of times
I look forward to my ban for saying that I was 13 when I lost my virginity to an 18-year-old.
I don't think that that historical fact is going to get you in trouble. It's what you advocate for in the future and your profile. So the position that different people mature at different rates and in different ways is clear and undisputed in the child development sphere. But once you enter into this one particular aspect, and by age of consent I mean age of consent to have sex now, then you're stepping on landmines pretty quickly and pretty easily.
Absolutely. So, it's a murky issue.
It's because America is the way America is about sex. And I'm not going to claim to be immune from that. I find this issue to be too hot to handle. I try to avoid it as best I can. But when it's brought up, what I like to do is I like to go back, put the person who's asking the questions on their heels. Because my position is, you're not old enough to have sex until you're old enough to pay your own rent.
Right.
And I don't mean old enough to pay your own rent.
I would disagree with that assessment.
Able to pay your own rent.
I just don't think sex is that major of a decision in most cases.
It is if you have children, and children are the probable, almost certain outcome of heterosexual sex. And
well, if they have sex, and I've looked into this, if a woman was to have heterosexual sex every single day for a month, there's a 25% chance that she would become pregnant during that month.
Okay.
Which is very low for someone who is having sex, unprotected sex, every single day. I would certainly argue that in order to, and I don't like the terminology of being ready for sex because I just find that generally problematic, because I don't think it's, was I ready to learn how to play the guitar? Was I ready to adopt a cat? Was I ready to learn to drive? No, we don't ask these sorts of questions in most cases. We just go, oh, I want to learn this thing, or I want to do this thing, and we go out and do it. But when it comes to sex,
well, you don't choose sex by yourself, and I think that's what people are looking for. So for one, I would say that if you've got two 14-year-olds that are playing doctor, or whatever terminology we want to use as a euphemism for having consensual sex with each other, and this stuff happens. There's news stories of the police arresting, usually just the male, for young people for sex that, it doesn't even make any sense. Or they sent pictures of each other to each other, or, pictures of themselves to each other, and that kind of thing.
And they get arrested for child pornography.
For child pornography, which is absolutely ridiculous and beyond scope of, it should be beyond the scope of the law. And the problem is that we don't get to choose how the law is enforced. Once these old criminals that call themselves politicians make the laws, then the police brass decide how it's going to be enforced, and then the police go out and do what their brass told them to do. And it's all just a bunch of people saying, well, I don't think them young people should be having sex. Well, there's nothing we can do about that. So if I were to set up rules, and I had to set rules up on age or something, I would say, look, if you're saying, look, we have states in the United States where 16-year-olds can have sex with 80-year-olds without any consequences. And
I mean, it's like 20-something states.
It's a lot of them. Yeah. And somehow or another, the world spins on. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, apparently, 16 years old is old enough to have sex. And if it's old enough to have sex, it's old enough to videotape yourself having sex. So pornography and prostitution and all these other things are all on the table at that point. Do I like the idea of 16-year-old young ladies having sex? I don't. I don't like it. But that's not my business. My question is, how many people do you want to throw in prison over it? And at this point, they can have sex and they can have a job, so they should be able to have a job having sex, as far as I can tell.
I would agree with that assessment entirely.
I would say that...
I don't know that I would even want to say 16, maybe 15, maybe even 14. It's not my thing, but it's still not my place to judge or
I'm
say
not going to
no.
argue against any of those simply because I believe that some 14-year-olds would be able to make those decisions and some cannot. But I would say that any young person within a certain age range of the other young person that they're doing whatever they're doing with, they shouldn't be arrested. I can tell you that things happen with the neighbor girl. I didn't, we didn't go all the way or anything like that, but we were young.
Right.
Like, quite young. And the idea that some adult would step in there and determine that criminality had occurred when both of us, I'll tell you what, she was the initiator. So does that mean she should go to jail? She was younger, too.
Well, when I lost my virginity at 13 to the 18-year-old, it was, in fact, to an 18-year-old female. But this didn't change the fact that I knew an 18-year-old male who was facing statutory rape charges for having sex with a 14-year-old girl.
Right.
So it's not just the cops choosing when and where to enforce it. It's inherently sexist in most cases. As somebody pointed out at dlive.lrn.fm, if a young boy has sex with a 30-year-old female teacher, nobody's really going to bat an eye about it. Yeah, they're going to go, oh, he's so lucky.
That's how I feel when I see these younger things, because these younger kids, because I'm like, A, all my teachers were ugly, and B, wow, how do you get a hot? I mean, there's no doubt that I wanted that to happen.
Oh yeah,
when I was 14 years old, there's no doubt that I would have gone forward with that. And I don't know, what the scarring is. Is there a difference between the psychological scarring of me wanting to do that act, which happened, and versus me doing that act? I don't know the answer.
Scarring is the right word. I think you probably would have been happy.
It's not
brag to your buddies.
I'm not claiming it's the word for you. I'm claiming that's the word for the people that would claim that this is all terrible. Yeah. And it's a complicated issue.
It should be treated like one of these sorts of one-sided statements. So anyone who's under 18 who has sex with anyone over 18 should both be thrown in prison. It's child porn. That sort of myopic viewpoint of the world. It's cheapening and it's degrading to every human being alive.
Right, and I don't think the jail's the only answer. As the young man pointed out, there are social sanctions. I don't think a teacher who goes and does some horrible act with the entire class should just continue to be a teacher. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't throw him or her in jail anymore because the libertarians are in charge, right? I mean, that's ridiculous crap that is just thrown out there by both sides to not have to think about every other great point that libertarians make.
Absolutely. And I mean, you could still fire the teacher.
Right. Fire them. Kick them out of the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or I don't know, by that time it's just the Scouts, whatever the hell happens. I don't care because I'm a better parent than this. Okay? I don't care why, like when these news stories come up, my question is every single time, how the hell did this happen to your kid? And I'm sure that there's a percentage of parents out there that are what I would call good parents that these things happen to and that the sad stories occur to. However, I really believe it's people who did a bad job parenting early, and then they're like, well, what happened? What happened? Well, what happened is that you didn't talk to your kid. You didn't have frank conversations with them. You didn't discuss real life with them. And then real life hit him right in the seat of the pants, quite literally.
At which point they didn't know what to do, so they just went along with it and allowed themselves to be molested for all intents and purposes. But yeah, that's bad parenting. It's a lack of maturity.
Right. I don't tell my kid to respect somebody based on age. I don't.
Perfect.
There's a stupid thing to respect somebody based on. Oh, survival in the most survivable country on the planet? Congratulations.
Yeah, here's their cookie, right?
Happy birthday.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means, stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,395. Silver at $15.01. And Bitcoin is trading at $12,025. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 11 years after letting Jeffrey Epstein off lightly with a secret deal, federal prosecutors made another run at putting the billionaire financier behind bars on sex charges, accusing him Monday of abusing dozens of underage girls as young as 14 years old. The 66-year-old hedge fund manager, who once socialized with some of the world's most powerful people, was charged in a newly unsealed indictment with sex trafficking and conspiracy, and could get up to 45 years in prison. The Associated Press reports that prosecutors said the evidence includes a vast trove of hundreds or even thousands of lewd photographs of young women or girls. The evidence was discovered in a search of Epstein's New York mansion. Epstein, who was arrested over the weekend as he arrived in the U.S. from Paris aboard his private jet, was brought into court Monday in a blue gel uniform, his hair disheveled, and pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued that the matter had been settled a decade ago with a plea agreement in Florida involving similar allegations. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Mauritanian authorities restored access to the internet after disrupting it for 10 days, following the disputed presidential elections of June 23rd. Activist Post reports the government continues to restrict press freedom and freedom of expression as part of its post-election crackdown. Government-backed candidate Mohammed Ould Ghazouani garnered 52% of the vote, but widespread allegations of fraud have marred the election. 3 opposition candidates, including anti-slavery activist Bahram Dahabid, who came third with 18% of the votes, challenged the results before the Constitutional Council. Small protests disputing the results also took place in the capital. On Monday, July 1st, the council dismissed the opposition's appeal, confirming Ould Ghazouani as the country's next president on the basis of insufficient evidence for the opposition's allegations of fraud. A small study conducted by researchers at the University of Saskatchewan adds to the growing body of evidence that cannabis can be used to successfully treat seizures in children. That's according to the CBC. The Mind Unleashed reports a study funded by Jim Pattison's Children's Hospital Foundation monitored 7 children suffering from severe pediatric epilepsy, in which up to 1,200 seizures a month are common. On average, the overall reduction in seizures was close to 75%, while 3 of the 7 children stopped having seizures altogether. And while the study may have been small, it confirmed a growing body of evidence supporting the known efficacy of cannabis for a variety of ailments. In fact, there are already FDA-approved treatments for seizures associated with certain conditions, such as Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome, both of which are rare. The non-psychoactive CBD found in marijuana was famously used in 2013 to treat seizures in Charlotte Figge, a 3-year-old from Colorado who suffered from severe 30-minute seizures. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
After years of weekly meetings with his psychologist, local man Chris Vaughn told reporters today he was excited to only have 2 sessions left before completely resolving all of his emotional issues and never having the need to return to another therapy session again.
When I started therapy, I knew if I could make it through exactly 120 50-minute sessions with Dr. Warner, then all of my issues with depression and crippling anxiety would be gone. Next week we're covering my parents. The week after that we're wrapping up my trust issues, and then I should be good to go.
According to Vaughn, it took 40 sessions alone to fully resolve his feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem resulting from an unhappy childhood. Vaughn's therapist, Dr. Susan Warner, told Onion reporters that she's pleased with her patient's progress and relieved that his long-time emotional and cognitive issues are nearly solved for good.
I told him that getting healthy would take at least 100 hours of therapy, and now he'll never have to see me again. Thank God for that. That guy was a real piece of work.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves with 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And we've been having a bit of a discussion. We got carried off into the age of consent thing because it's such a big deal. But, of course, the lead story today is the FBI and ICE using people's driver's license to build a database of essentially just horrific abuses of people's right to not be searched and seized without a warrant, building these facial recognition databases out of people's driver's licenses. But let's get right back to the phones. We've got Larry from Indiana calling in. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I was listening to your program here, and, you talk about the guy that got busted, whoever it was, the financial guy for child porn or whatever.
Epstein, and yeah, it was more than that, but yeah.
Now you can look right on the websites, and all these pornography websites, they have special sections where they show young, what appear to be underage girls talking about how they getting paid $5,000 for a porn scene and everything, and how to get in contact with the people that are paying them and everything else. So people need to shut their mouths. I mean, what the government does, it sets back and busts up families and put these young girls in a situation where they have to go out and make money somewhere to keep up with the Joneses. And if they find out they can make $5,000 for one sex scene, well, they're going to do it one time right after another. So they just need to shut up the same way that they promote alcohol. Every corner's got a brew pub or whiskey still, and then they got the ads on buzz driving is drunk driving. It can cost you $10,000. And the state of Indiana here even pays to set up these booze joints and brew pubs out of the tax dollars. So they just need to shut up. I mean, some person have been influenced by rap music talking about all the stuff that Cardi B got. I got everything. They want to get their nails done. They want to get their hairs done. They want to have boyfriends. They don't want to go out and do stuff for free. They find out they can get paid. This is nothing but advertisement for it. What they do is promote it and then ban it.
Yeah, it sounds about right, actually, is that we create a world centered around drugs and sex, and then tell kids don't do drugs or have sex. And
promote and ban.
Surprise.
Every time they could go to their iPhone and watch the most filthy porn scenarios that they want to watch any time, any hour of the night. And once they watch them, that's catching, and it catches on.
Larry, I agree wholeheartedly, but I don't know if it's true that our society promotes drugs and sex as much as it is just humans inherently crave drugs and sex.
Who knows whether it's the chicken and the egg,
right.
But you wouldn't claim that the society is promoting sex and drugs, right?
I don't know.
I mean, if humans crave sex and drugs,
yeah,
then society then society is promoting it, right?
Well, society and its values and the things that it promotes, I argue, are just reflections of human desires.
So?
Right. Well,
that doesn't mean that it's not promoting it.
People already desire these things, but we are sending conflicting messages to people, definitely. Regardless of what their age is, you do have all sorts, and it's not limited to just rap or any specific type of music. You do have all sorts of music videos that glorify sex.
You have to wake up with a certain amount of hangovers to realize that drinking alcohol to excess is a bad idea. And some people never learn. Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's got a purpose in life, and some of their purpose is to serve as a bad example. You know, whoop, this can happen. So
it's hard to argue with that.
It's been happening as long as, you know, far back as the Bible. Samson's story is basically a story about don't get drunk. Because women will cut your hair and turn you into a slave or something.
Yeah, I don't remember all of the details.
It gets a little complicated after that. There's definitely alcohol involved. but
I mean, you're absolutely correct. And I would argue that the same thing is true of sex. You know, it isn't immediately clear to someone why having a lot of sex might be a bad idea. Just like you might wake up with one too many hangovers, you might wake up with HIV, you might wake up pregnant, you might wake up having impregnated someone. And of course, those are much riskier consequences, much graver consequences rather than, you know, waking up with a hangover. But you still learn the lesson, and ideally you learn a minor enough lesson that you can adjust your behavior and move forward without harming anyone else. Right?
Agreed.
But that isn't always the case. Certainly not. There are a lot of people, that's why the abortion rate is what it is because there are a lot of people having ill-considered sex, because they have this sort of, and I don't know what the numbers is, I'm not going to pretend to, but they do have this sort of, don't worry about it, we can alleviate you of any responsibility that might result from you having had sex.
That's kind of how I saw Planned Parenthood back when I was a teenager, is that ultimately if this situation goes south, well, we got a backup plan. Yeah. And I think that many adults find that, you know, upsetting. But maybe there should be other backup plans. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that you know, a plethora of unwanted children just fills the prison systems.
It certainly does. And I mean, it fills the adoption clinics or whatever they're referred to as with unwanted children.
Well, I'm an adopted, and I will say that having looked at these numbers, adopted kids come with their problems. They're much more likely to. Every advantage was thrown at me. I was, you know, middle-class kid, or at least lower middle class or something like that. My parents worked hard to send me to a private school. I still got in trouble because adopted kids have problems.
Well, everybody has problems.
I understand.
I would imagine that
adopted kids have more.
Yeah, I would imagine because of these circumstances, you know, of having been essentially given up by the people who brought them into this world, that they do just sort of endemically have more that's not the right word, but
and I'm curious, my mother told me from the very start that I was adopted and all that, and I think that comes with it, this sort of abandonment psychology and those kind of things. However, everybody vilifies the people that you know, don't tell their kid until later in life.
I have a cousin who still does not know he was adopted. And he's done essentially the same thing. He was brought into a lower middle class, but a middle class life all the same. He could have gone to college and, you know, been a successful middle class, upper middle class person, and instead he became addicted to heroin and Oxycontin.
Yeah.
So just like his birth mother, with no knowledge of having been adopted whatsoever. So to a certain extent, I would say, you know, it suggests that some of that is genetic.
Well, and that's another thing. John Taylor Gatto, you know, talked about this at one point. And certainly he's not the one who did the research, but that's where I heard about it, was that that communication takes all forms, and part of your communication is sort of a physicality. And you move into this other family that's not your family, and they move different. Their genetics are different, and there's just some differences going on, and that puts you in this weird swimmy world where you're like, why? What's real? What's not? And if you know, some of the results is that adopted kids have much higher rates of addiction, much higher rates of teen pregnancy, much higher rates of incarceration than sort of regular kids. And it doesn't seem to matter whether you tell them or not.
Interesting.
And it's unfortunate.
So it may not actually be genetics, just the fact that, you know, they are genetic line A being put into surroundings of genetic line C or whatever. And that's just jarring in and of itself.
Yeah, I think it's the jarring aspect of it. Personally, is what I would say. I think that people who are adopting kids are doing God's work, and I wouldn't want to diminish that in any way. My mother chose to, give me an opportunity and that sort of thing, and I can do nothing but thank her for it. But I do think there are consequences to adoption. Whether they're worth it, I'd say they're worth it, but they're just there.
I would agree they're definitely worth it. I mean, the last thing I want to do is discourage anyone from adopting, especially when we have so many kids right now who are not adopted. I think that it's a great service. I don't know if I would say it's the work of God, but it's a gift to humanity.
As an atheist,
certainly.
You probably wouldn't.
Yeah. 855-450-3733. Let us know what you think. Again, that's 855-450-3733. Or if you want clearer quality, you can join the Discord server, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Again, that's discord.lrn.fm.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite. Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And Mark, why don't you tell us about something interesting?
My Magic Mud. I love My Magic Mud. I use My Magic Mud pretty much every single week. If you go to mymagicmud.com, you'll find out about this very interesting product that I just won't live without. It's a black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut husks, shells, I'm not sure, bentonite clay, and it's clinically proven to whiten teeth. I'll go farther than that, as to say, yes, certainly it whitened my teeth, but it also gets them cleaner than anything else I brush with. And for that reason, I brush with it every 4 to 7 days. When you first get it, you should brush with it every day for like 4 days. And then your teeth will be sort of as white as they're supposed to be. Nothing sort of alien white teeth or anything weird like that, but a good, nice, healthy, white-looking mouth. And it's available in most major health food stores: Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, Walmart, Natural Beauty aisle. So you know that this is a product that you can rely on. They've been around for a few years. They were made by a mom named Jessica Armand to take care of her family. And I met her at the Porcupine Freedom Festival some years ago, and she shared the product with me, and I've never been without it since. Get 20% off of My Magic Mud at mymagicmud.com using coupon code FTL20. mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20.
Very cool. I have never used it, but I know you did. I know you do. So, I mean, it sounds like a cool product. But let's finally...
I have some right here for you.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to quit smoking, and I think that will resolve a lot of it, Well, yeah, I mean, obviously stains will wear off and that kind of thing, but I imagine you probably drink coffee, too. There's not a lot of smokers that don't. I do not drink coffee.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Try it out. Your teeth will... It'll be a new lease on your teeth.
All right. So let's finally get into this story about the driver's license issue, the DMVs. Conspiring in essence with the FBI and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Evidently, agents with the FBI and Customs ICE, okay, let's just call them ICE, have turned state driver's license databases into a facial recognition goldmine, scanning through hundreds of millions of Americans' photos without their consent or knowledge.
It's almost as if you could have listened to the Libertarians 10 or 15 years ago when we said this was going to happen.
This is such a predictable outcome of the government having everyone's address and picture on file.
Wait, law enforcement would never use information they've gathered in a fashion that they weren't legally allowed to.
Oh, certainly not. Yeah, I mean, that's totally unheard of.
Of course, they got a warrant for every one of these pictures that they chose to use for this, right?
Well...
Millions and millions of warrants?
I doubt it. Thousands of facial recognition requests, internal documents, and emails over the last 5 years obtained through public record requests by Georgetown University researchers.
And remember, driving's a privilege, and that you gave your picture to the government back in 1984 when you first got your driver's license, knowing full well that there would be facial recognition software in the future, and you consented to this, ladies and gentlemen. No, you didn't, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Statist, not drivel.
Yeah, it's certainly not a privilege either. Not in any realistic context.
It's a privilege to pay for the roads.
What?
No. You absolutely have to pay for the roads, or they'll take your home from you, or they'll go after you for your not filing taxes, these kinds of things. There's no privilege to it.
No, for the people who say it's a privilege, you should watch the video of me getting pulled over a few weeks ago after I left Free Talk Live. And, had to get harassed by police, essentially for not fulfilling their little... jumping through their hoops and paying them the money that they were extorting from me in order to be able to travel the land like a free person should be able to do.
So you don't have a driver's license?
I do.
Okay.
I didn't. It was expired, and there were difficulties getting a new one because of government bureaucracy, red tape.
All right.
In order to get my birth certificate from the state of Mississippi, which is necessary to get a license in New Hampshire, I had to give them a valid ID, which I couldn't
to
get.
have because you weren't,
Yeah. Government bureaucracy at its finest, essentially.
Yeah.
So the DMV's information about you has been turned into the bedrock of an unprecedented surveillance infrastructure. I don't know about how unprecedented it is. I mean, Edward Snowden showed us that there's some pretty scary precedents out there. But certainly, as far as facial recognition software goes, this is probably unprecedented for the United States. So coming to us from Cron.com, police have obviously long had access to fingerprints, DNA.
This is San Francisco Chronicle?
I guess Houston Chronicle.
Houston Chronicle, sorry.
And other biometric data taken from criminal suspects. But the DMV records contain the photos of the majority of a state's residents, most of whom have never been charged with the crime, and probably never will be. Maybe some driving infractions or moving violations, whatever they refer to them as, but probably never anything that's going to constitute what most people would consider a crime. But neither Congress nor state legislatures have authorized the development of such a system. To no one's surprise, and growing numbers of Democratic and Republican lawmakers are criticizing the technology as a dangerous, pervasive, and error-prone surveillance tool. Certainly, wasn't there just a case in New York of a guy whose his face was recognized by Apple based off of his ID or something like that, and he ended up getting arrested, and it wasn't even he who was the person who stole from the Apple store?
I don't know.
I don't remember all the details about it, but we've already seen this being misused and abused and identifying the wrong person. Law enforcement's access of state databases, particularly DMV databases, is often done in the shadows with no consent, House Committee on Oversight and Reform Chairman Cummings said in a statement to the Post. Another statement comes by a Republican, so it is a bipartisan effort at the very least to at least pretend they want to scale this system back.
The system that they have overseen grow,
yes,
they want to scale back.
Yeah, they created this system, and then they just sat there twiddling their thumbs while libertarians were like, hey, you realize how this system you created is like about to be used in the next 10 years, right? And they're like, no, it's totally fine. Yeah, we don't have an out-of-control FBI. We don't have an out-of-control police state that's going to abuse any information on you that it can get. Certainly not.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
So the DMV, according to Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio, says they've just given access to this database to the FBI. No individual signed off on that when they renewed their driver's license.
No.
They didn't sign any waiver saying, oh, it's okay to turn my information, my photo, over to the FBI.
Right. I mean, people are worried about what happens to their dead bodies in conjunction with their particular state's IDs, but no one knows or cares whether or not the FBI is using their picture to build a facial recognition database so that they can just hunt people down on all these silly warrants that are out there. Don't forget that the size of the government grows every single year. More laws are passed, more things become illegal, and a Supreme Court justice has just recently been quoted as saying, that's Neil Gorsuch, that anyone can be arrested for anything in this country.
Yeah, I think the mistake a lot of people make is that they look at these various factions, the DMV, the FBI, as different entities, when in fact, they're the same entity. They're the state. They're always working together to get you, the supposedly free citizen. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And we just finally got into the subject of the FBI and ICE using, as libertarians have, predicted, because libertarians, when it comes to government encroachment and government growth and government doing things that it shouldn't be, libertarians have almost a perfect track record. I mean, we were talking about our emails being hacked and read. We were talking about our text messages being intercepted, our phone calls being monitored by the government before Edward Snowden came out and was like, oh, by the way, the libertarians are right. The government has these massive web programs to monitor you.
Perfect is, or almost perfect, is a bold claim. I cannot refute it at this time. But the number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE as in Free Talk Live. And if you have a refutation of Aria's claim here that libertarians' predictions on the growth of the state and its sort of the veracity of those predictions, I would love to hear anybody make a point counter, because I can't think of one at this moment.
I mean, you do have some libertarians out there who just go totally unhinged, like, oh no, the government didn't actually land on the moon, and they're doing all of these other things.
They may be libertarians at that point, but they may also be some kind of wacky conspiracy theorist too.
So I would say libertarian-based predictions about the encroachment of the state on our personal freedoms are boasting an almost perfect track record.
As opposed to a conspiracy-based prediction. You have to presume a premise for a conspiracy theory to be true, right? Like, so the premise is the United States, no human has ever traveled to the moon. Premise assumed that is contrary to what we believe. 9/11 was an inside job. Premise assumed contrary to what sort of the major line story is.
One produced by the government.
Right. LBJ was responsible for the assassination of JFK. Premise assumed. I'm not saying it's not true.
Right.
I just don't. It's assuming a premise, and because I have to work in a field where we cite materials, I have a difficult time with just assuming a premise. No, you're wrong. This is what happened. Well, no, you're wrong. This is what happened. I can't live like that. I don't know.
Well, I don't recall who it was, but there was some philosopher or scientist who lived centuries ago who said something like, the ability to hold a number of different positions in a state of I don't know is the mark of someone who is truly wise.
Okay.
Those people who take those positions, who make those bald assertions like 9/11 wasn't Bush and Cheney did 9/11. It's like, look, I don't know if that's what happened. I'm not going to claim to believe that because I don't believe that. I don't believe the government's story about 9/11 either.
Sure don't.
I don't know. And I'm happy leaving it at that.
Right.
And the same thing in regard to the JFK assassination. I am fairly sure that man has in fact been on the moon. I will admit I don't know that, but I've never seen any compelling reason to not believe it.
I believe it because that's what I was taught. And I believe it was a terrifying trip. And
I'm sure it was.
They're lucky to have returned, but I believe it happened.
I don't doubt that it happened.
Yeah.
I believe it probably did. But, I mean, I say that with the caveat of probably right there. But I'm one of those skeptics. I'm one of those epistemologists. That's not the word I'm looking for.
I believe what people of science say generally until I come to conclusions that I've been lied to. And, there's a few areas where I'm like, hey, assertions are being made in the name of science here that are sort of unfounded in that area. I guess a couple of them are, some of the more outlandish claims surrounding global warming. And
science as a whole has become sort of religiousized in the last several years, where they are now claiming to know things. The science on global warming is settled. Wait a minute, because no true scientist would ever say that anything was settled, right?
Well, and what is the science on global warming? Because no one will tell me what it is. Every time I hear a prediction on what global warming is all right. Let's look back
totally nuts.
The predictions from 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because global warming is not a new concept. It's been around since the 80s.
Certainly.
Let's talk about, and don't forget all the predictions that we'd all be dead by 1987 from Earth Day in 1971, because there is this sort of humans are a virus death cult idea that's out there, that we are the problem with the world, and I don't necessarily believe that. I can't remember
I believe it's probably true, but not in regards to a number of people.
Well, we are we're a hybrid between a K mammal and an R mammal. We tend to eat out any given sphere in which we reside, but we're trying to, as a society, as a group, we're trying to leave green spaces and places where animals can do their thing and stuff like that. But
that's true.
We get nothing but shame all along the way. And by the way, if you're one of these global warming types, shame isn't the way you motivate people. It really isn't. I know it's the way you feel sanctimonious, so you're really good at doing what you actually want to do, which is seem smug. But what you want to do is motivate people. And to motivate people, you need hope. You need inspiration. You need a clear path to victory. Go find some of that crap and then talk about how global warming is a problem, and then you can offer a solution. Otherwise, it's just like, let's see, we'll give governments the, let's say, least accountable and most disorganized organizational model in human history, the ability to tax major corporations for whom we really have no responsibility, but we buy everything from them, the ability to tax them further, and that'll solve it. What? That's your plan? Because it sucks.
Yeah, that's a terrible plan.
It made Al Gore rich, though.
It did. Did you happen to? I'm sure you did. Did you see Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal, where the plan was something like massacre all the cows or something like that because cow flatulence?
Well, I actually believe that. Oh no, I actually believe that.
I don't agree or disagree with it. I just don't think it's practical, and I don't think that these are the people who want to run your life. They want to tell you what you can and can't do.
If
and
the
this
United
chick
States government
stands up there and goes, cow flatulence.
Well, cow flatulence is a huge problem, and no one's going to address it. However, people. The problem is it's too hard to tell an American, hey, you got to stop eating beef. But if the government would just stop subsidizing meat,
Certainly.
just stop giving corporate welfare to meat distributors, stop making it hard for small farmers to compete against large farmers, stop the regulation that makes it nearly impossible to be a small farmer. I know, I was a small farmer. Stop those things. Then what you'll see is the market correct itself. It makes no sense that corn costs X per pound, and that a pig who's fed largely on corn or grain derivatives is the same cost. When it costs 10 pounds of corn to make a pound of pig, or whatever the formula is, and then the pig costs the same per pound as the corn. None of that makes any sense.
No, and it's all government subsidies and things like that. It's obviously ineffective, right? You can't plug a surge protector or a power strip into itself and get electricity from it. And that's essentially what subsidies are trying to do. We don't know what the price of a pig actually should be or what the price of corn actually should be, because the kind of people who are getting up there before Congress as they're attempting to tell you what you can and can't do, and they're going, we have to exterminate all the cows, are also the kinds of people who... I lost my train of thought. It happens. I don't know where that... I didn't lose the train of thought. I just forgot where the sentence actually started.
Yeah. Well, one thing I figured out with, relatively recently is that methane has a... it's lighter than air, so it goes up, and it could very well be a greenhouse gas, versus carbon dioxide, which is not lighter than air. It actually sinks down towards the ground. It's supposedly made algae blooms and that sort of thing, but it's also making trees grow better.
It is. Let us know what you think. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE as in freedom.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's a clip from The Rachel Ray Show testing the results of Instantly Ageless.
Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe. If you're looking to try to turn back the clock on a budget, in the privacy of your own home, but actually there's some recent technologies emerging, almost like changes the behavior of the skin while it sits on the skin.
She went off to try a product called Instantly Ageless.
Yeah, instantly you could see a difference. Even the cameraman were like, wow, look at the difference.
Yeah,
but I would definitely use this product.
This product, within minutes of applying it, it was actually a very dramatic rejuvenation.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, 855-450-3733. Let's finally get back into this story about the DMV turning over information to the FBI and to ICE, because apparently at least 2 government representatives, 2 allegedly duly elected representatives, are not happy about it. But even so, federal investigators don't really care. They've turned facial recognition into a routine investigative tool. They never asked for permission from anyone to do this because they're the state. They wanted to do it, so they simply did it. Since 2011, the FBI has logged more. And what do you think they're doing with your Facebook picture, by the way? But the FBI has logged more.
Oh, yeah, that's the largest data collection program by American intelligence agencies and world intelligence agencies. Don't act like it's only the United States that gets access to Facebook stuff.
Oh, certainly not. But they are doing it. I have no doubt of that. If they're going through the DMV, they're going, because all of these pictures are generally public. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the ICE, they eat that stuff up.
And you don't think the United States has managed to hack Russia's driver's license database? I mean, come on, seriously, you don't think they got it? Well,
I'm sure they have.
Do you think Russia has gotten the United States' driver's license database?
I'm sure they have.
Right. Like, that's how these things work.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are treated like a commodity by these organizations that claim to own you. Don't think they claim to own you? Let me lay it out for you. Follow the money. How is it that banks, which is what the Federal Reserve is, it's a collection of private banks,
certainly,
give loans? That's how money comes into circulation. Treasury bonds are issued by the United States government, and then money is given, actual money, U.S. Federal Reserve notes, U.S. dollars as they're called. Look at the dollar. It says Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve notes are issued in exchange for this Treasury note thing, Treasury bill thing. And that's a loan. What's that loan based on? What's it collateralized by?
Are you asking me?
Well, sure, go ahead. Tell me.
Your existence, your labor. That's what your Social
labor,
Security
your future
number is.
labor.
Yeah.
Because it's understood that X number of Americans are going to work next year.
Yeah, the income tax was us being put up as collateral for their loans.
That's what it is. We are collateralizing their loan. You are their commodity and have been for longer than you've lived. Listen to this. You think it's sick that they collateralized you? All right. The federal debt has existed since, at the very least, the Jackson administration, and maybe since the Revolutionary War. But let's just take the notion that Andrew Jackson actually paid it off. It's really close. Whatever. There's a $40,000 fudge number. Let's say he paid it off.
Oh no, $40,000. Just think about that number in the context of today's money,
right?
And today's government spending.
People are paid more than that per year in many cases. So $40,000 we're talking about. Minor numbers, but that means the American Civil War, the Spanish-American War, the Mexican War, the wars on the Indians, all these things, all this debt that's been piled up throughout the years, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, the whole deal, all that debt that's been piled up, and then all the social welfare programs that pile up with it too, because I figure about half of it is war, and about the other half is bad government programs, including Medicare and these sorts of things.
So 100% of it is bad government programs, because war is the penultimate bad government program.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's old people voting on whether or not young people should die for no reason. But, these things, that you were collateralized back before the Civil War, which means that we are currently collateralizing people who don't exist. And not only don't they exist, but their parents don't exist either.
It's the
because they did it back then. And there's no plan to pay this thing off. Not one.
Oh.
Rand Paul, who's the most responsible of the liars and thieves in Washington, D.C., his plan is to cut spending by 2%, which is totally doable. The idea that I couldn't do that.
It's completely. They're just not going.
They could cut 5%. Seriously, there's not a government program out there that couldn't cut 5% for the next 5 years.
Well, we'd have to stop spending $30,000 to teach Filipino hookers how to use condoms.
Something like that, right? So 2% per year for 5 years, and then 2% growth for the next 5 years is his plan to, be
so
basically
it's Romney's plan.
Budget neutral.
I mean, that's what Romney kept saying during 2012 or 2008, whenever it was like, we just need to grow the economy.
Well, that wasn't growing the economy. This is actually cutting some government spending.
In addition to the rest of it will be offset by economic growth.
Right. I mean, well, one of the things that's notable about Bill Clinton's administration was that 1 year, they were able to create a positive. They paid off a little debt. So the budget deficit, which is not the debt. The debt has never disappeared. I told you the debt hasn't disappeared since the Jackson administration, and I mean it.
Yeah, it's merely changed hands.
The deficit is how much of the government spends more than it makes, and the deficit has existed, it's not the deficit, a deficit has existed every year for my whole life, I think, except for Bill Clinton. I'm going to check that during the break to make sure, but I'm 48 years old, and I don't believe that anything's been paid on the debt besides that 1 year, and it was minuscule what was paid.
Clinton's the only person who did it within my lifetime. I'm fairly sure of that. But, of course, most of my lifetime has been George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Bill Clinton, all of whom did not hesitate to spend another $70 million buying a new rocket from whatever company out there is manufacturing rockets.
Well, they're showing some, actually quite a few budget surpluses in that same time frame surrounding like 99 to 2000. So I guess I'm wrong on this. The rest of my life, it appears as though there's been budget deficits, but it looks like 4 years there were, according to this one particular graph I found.
Well, that would be a good thing, but even so, it didn't come anywhere close to paying off the national debt. The debt that you are not responsible for. I am not responsible for. Mark is not responsible for. Nobody who exists today is responsible for that debt, except the politicians who have voted in favor of that debt. I can't take out a loan.
They're all dead. The vast majority of them are dead.
Well, yeah, but it increased with like Operation Iraqi Freedom. And,
sure.
The politicians who increased it are responsible for what they increased. But I can't go to the bank, take out a loan, and be like, you know what? Don't even worry about this loan. All of these 320 million Americans, they're going to support it. Don't worry about me defaulting. We can just take some money from them every single year, and I will use it to pay back this loan from you. It doesn't work that way. It's horrifically immoral. How could you possibly have any responsibility toward my debt if I were to do that? Just say, screw off. I don't owe you anything. I didn't have any say in this.
Right.
You simply did it. That's the condition that we're in. But these warlords have us so terrorized by their use of the police, by their threats of military occupation, because we are occupied by the military. It's impossible to dispute that when you have Trump parading around with tanks and aircraft and stuff, and when you have a little peaceful town here in Keene having a freaking bear cat. We are under military occupation by our own government.
I don't know. Military occupation, I mean, certainly we're a militaristic society, and governments are, by their nature, organizations of violence. Yeah. Now, I don't mean all governments would have to be. There are certainly voluntary governments out there that you can be part of, but those governments, we don't call governments. We call them companies or businesses or things like that.
This is why I separate the state from just government. State is a type of government, like car is a type of automobile.
Right. State is an organizational model that's used for governance, and it claims a monopoly privilege on the use of violence in a given landmass.
And if you dispute that definition, you should Google Barack Obama using exactly that definition to define the government.
Just go on YouTube. Actually, you'll find the clip there. He says, what distinguishes the nation state from other organizations is the monopoly on force.
And he's not wrong. It is the most accurate definition I've ever heard a politician use.
Well, it's not the most accurate definition. The most accurate definition is the state is an organization that claims a monopoly privilege over the use of violence in a given landmass. However...
Isn't that what he said?
No, he touched on it. He came close. He wasn't attempting. He's not a libertarian, and he wasn't attempting to critique. He just, was reading he was just reiterating the stuff that they learn in their, social studies classes in college or whatever, and he forgot for that moment that, whoa, you're not supposed to tell the public that stuff.
No, but I love that he did, and I couldn't believe it. It was actually Ian here on Free Talk Live or Freer Talk Live or some show or another where he showed it to me, and we listened to the clip, and I was just stunned to hear Barack Obama admitting that the state attempts to use a monopoly of force against the people they're supposed to oversee. It's nothing more than that.
That's what it is.
This is Free Talk Live. Let us know what you think. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live, or use the Discord call-in lines for clearer quality, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,395, silver at $15.01, and Bitcoin is trading at $12,025. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, 11 years after letting Jeffrey Epstein off lightly with a secret deal, federal prosecutors made another run at putting the billionaire financier behind bars on sex charges, accusing him Monday of abusing dozens of underage girls as young as 14 years old. The 66-year-old hedge fund manager, who once socialized with some of the world's most powerful people, was charged in a newly unsealed indictment with sex trafficking and conspiracy, and could get up to 45 years in prison. The Associated Press reports that prosecutors said the evidence includes a vast trove of hundreds or even thousands of lewd photographs of young women or girls. The evidence was discovered in a search of Epstein's New York mansion. Epstein, who was arrested over the weekend as he arrived in the U.S. from Paris aboard his private jet, was brought into court Monday in a blue gel uniform, his hair disheveled, and pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued that the matter had been settled a decade ago with a plea agreement in Florida involving similar allegations. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Mauritanian authorities restored access to the internet after disrupting it for 10 days, following the disputed presidential elections of June 23rd. Activist Post reports the government continues to restrict press freedom and freedom of expression as part of its post-election crackdown. Government-backed candidate Mohammed Ould Ghazouani garnered 52% of the vote, but widespread allegations of fraud have marred the election. 3 opposition candidates, including anti-slavery activist Bahram Dahabid, who came third with 18% of the votes, challenged the results before the Constitutional Council. Small protests disputing the results also took place in the capital. On Monday, July 1st, the council dismissed the opposition's appeal, confirming Ould Ghazouani as the country's next president on the basis of insufficient evidence for the opposition's allegations of fraud. A small study conducted by researchers at the University of Saskatchewan adds to the growing body of evidence that cannabis can be used to successfully treat seizures in children. That's according to the CBC. The Mind Unleashed reports a study funded by Jim Pattison's Children's Hospital Foundation monitored 7 children suffering from severe pediatric epilepsy, in which up to 1,200 seizures a month are common. On average, the overall reduction in seizures was close to 75%, while 3 of the 7 children stopped having seizures altogether. And while the study may have been small, it confirmed a growing body of evidence supporting the known efficacy of cannabis for a variety of ailments. In fact, there are already FDA-approved treatments for seizures associated with certain conditions, such as Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome, both of which are rare. The non-psychoactive CBD found in marijuana was famously used in 2013 to treat seizures in Charlotte Figge, a 3-year-old from Colorado who suffered from severe 30-minute seizures. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Hi, I'm Clint Webb, and I'm running for Senate. I have a short cropped haircut, a pretty enough yet accessible looking wife, and a newborn baby that I've dressed in a suit to prove to you that I mean business. For the last 15 years, I've lived my life in such a bland, uncontroversial, and repressed manner that it's almost unnatural. Why? Because I've been preparing to be your representative since I was a child. Most well-adjusted, sane men would be hesitant to take a job where their decisions would so drastically affect the lives of so many. But not me. I possess a sort of sociopathic narcissism that makes me think that I should be in charge of everyone. But all of that needs to start here at home, in this beautiful state that I've grown to love since I moved here 18 months ago. Together, we can piggyback some of our state's legitimate needs onto my unquenchable lust for self-glorification. And that's a promise.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves. Talk about whatever is on your mind. The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And we've been talking about the failures of the state in general and how we're not in the least surprised to find that the DMV has been just readily turning information over to the FBI and to ICE.
Of course they are. I mean, no one thinks for a second that the Department of Motor Vehicles of individual states isn't going to just turn over whatever information that the federal law enforcement agencies might ask for them. I mean, this is not even thought. Oh, well, maybe they may be using this information for something they shouldn't be using it for, and maybe they need a warrant for this kind of stuff.
Well, they've used these databases at least 390,000 times since 2011, and the records show that federal investigators have forged daily working relationships with DMV officials.
Sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's nice to be friends with the people who are giving you illegal information, right?
Yeah, I mean, as to how illegal the information is, I don't know. They get to write these rules. Legality
That's
is,
true.
To me, if they want to build a database of all Americans and probably all other people that they've managed to find that governments have picture IDs for too, but if they want to build a world-encompassing database for facial recognition, which is what they appear to be attempting to do, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you had to a true or false question here, the government would like to build a global database of everyone's face for facial recognition. True or false?
Clearly true.
I mean, you'd have to be a mouth-breathing fool to believe otherwise. Okay?
Well, a lot of people do believe otherwise because
they don't.
I think they do because they buy into that benevolence of the government.
No, they
scheme.
operate as though they believe it. But if you ask them that question, do you think that the government, and I mean the United States government, frankly,
it applies to any.
Right. The government of Great Britain, the government of Russia, the government of Germany. China, you pick. do you think they want a global database for facial recognition or not? And of course, the answer is yes.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, it's the ultimate.
At that point, all they can do is say, "What do you have to hide?" Well, I don't know what I have to hide. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have anything to hide. But what did the Tutsis have to hide in Rwanda when the competing tribe decided to wipe them out in the 1990s? What did the Japanese Americans have to hide when the Roosevelt administration used U.S. Census information to hunt them down and incarcerate them? I know these things couldn't happen here in America anymore.
Except they're happening right now with Trump trying to put a citizenship question on the census.
I guess they are I don't know. If you answer their citizenship question, if you answer any of their questions,
yeah, that's true.
You're just answering. It's voluntary.
Is it?
It is. Cool. They'll act like it's not, but it is.
Well, I have no intention of complying, whether it's voluntary or not.
Right. I mean, what I did when they came around for kicks was I intended to show this person how invasive it was, rather than going through all the rigmarole, because Ian was already doing that experiment. I don't need to do that experiment.
What experiment was Ian doing?
Ian was would pull out a camera and tell him he's not going to comply, and ask them questions, tell them the state is violence and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
Chase them off the porch. Not chase them off the porch in the sense that he wasn't actually telling them to leave.
Right.
He's just refusing and recording the experience and then talking to them in the fashion that, if you can imagine, that a libertarian, nationally syndicated radio talk show host would do.
Right.
I, on the other hand, decided I went and got a piece of paper and a pen, and every time the woman asked me a question, I asked the question of her. And so she had to tell me everything about her that she was asking me.
And I'm guessing she was not willing to do that.
No, she was absolutely willing to do it. So she answered the questions to how many people were in her household and where did she live, and and all these questions. Every one of them I asked her and wrote it down. I didn't do anything with it. I'm sure I threw it away after she left. But I wanted to show how creepy is this.
Oh, it's extremely creepy.
And it's even,
let's remember what the census is. It's a way for the government to find out how many citizens it has. And in the republic-style, democracy-ish federalist government, it's supposed to be a good, positive thing for the government to know generally how many people there are.
That's because we are told that we are the government.
Right, and they're supposed to be
and stuff.
Segmenting up districts and assigning a number of representatives based on those populations, things like that. But all they need to do that is the number.
Right.
All they need to know is how many people live here. That's not what they ask. That's one of the several questions that they ask.
When they send out this American Family Report thing annually, not every 10 years, annually to selected households around the United States, it has exhaustive questions, and people continue to answer it. I got that one time and just threw it in the garbage.
Is it done by the federal government?
Yeah, it's done by the Census Bureau.
Interesting. I was not aware that such a thing even existed.
Oh yeah, they've got a deeper questionnaire that they take and just do sort of polling data with. Yeah.
You would think the deeper one would be the every 10-year one.
No, the every 10-year one is deeper in so much as they count everyone.
Okay. They attempt to.
The American Family thing is a deep dive on demographic information. So they'll, say they pick 1 out of 50 Americans or 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 500. I don't know what the number is. And they send these things out, and presumably they get half of them back. I don't know.
It's all information that you don't want the government to have, though. And I mean, I've seen people arguing now that,
I don't want anybody particularly to have the information, but the government mainly uses this and just sort of gives the information away and that kind of thing to, this is the quality of our tax livestock is what it's saying.
Yeah.
Because we pointed out in the last hour, and I think it bears repeating, is that all they're doing is counting their gold. You are their gold. They are counting on you to go to work so that they can tax you next year and pay, their debts, or at least a portion of their debt. Enough of their debt that they can accrue more debt. By the way, they're looking at increasing the debt ceiling again. I think it's September they're going to have to do that.
Well, it's no surprise whatsoever. I mean, all they ever did was bumped it up just a little bit, just enough to make it a few more years.
Trump's a budget hawk.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to solve that problem.
I mean, that's what they say. He's also going to drain the swamp. He's going to build the wall. He's going to do all of these other things that for some bizarre reason his supporters want him to do. I just don't see it. To me,
I'd love him to drain the swamp and to be a budget hawk. I think he's better than some, but
I'm not even sure he ever even claimed to be a budget hawk. I know he claimed to drain the swamp, obviously.
He was going to run it efficiently and at a profit.
Yeah, he has not managed to do that.
How could you? The government is not even supposed to run at a profit.
Yeah, it's supposed to be unprofitable by design. That's why it's set up the way that it is.
They'll tell you need the government to do the things that aren't profitable.
Yes.
I don't know that that's true. It sounds like what task do Americans need to do that isn't worth paying them to do?
I would definitely say that if it needs to be done, then there is profit in it. And if there is no profit in it, then it doesn't need to be done. You might want it to be done, but if you needed it to be done, you would be willing to pay someone to do it, in which case it would be profitable.
Right.
But of course, that's not the way they view the world, and the whole reason we're not surprised by any of these shenanigans is because we do view the state appropriately. We recognize that it doesn't matter whether we're dealing with the socialist government in China or the supposed capitalist government in the United States or the European Union or any of these other countries. They're all, for all intents and purposes, it's one organism. It's the state.
That's what it is.
It's a group of warlords, a group of murderers, a group of thugs, a group of people who consider us to be property, who are attempting to set themselves up as the masters of the world, telling the plebs what they can and can't do.
Well, don't forget that everybody considers themselves the same way. Everybody considers
like the
themselves...
caller earlier who was like, if I had my own society, blah, blah, blah.
Right. He wants to be God King of his own little imaginary society. And I understand. I played that game many, many times.
I played the video game. I don't want it in the real world. No. That's a bit too much megalomania for me. You give me a little digital civilization to control. I'll roll with that. Let us know what you think. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
NASA's recent discovery of water on Mercury has led to speculation among scientists that the planet could potentially sustain an intergalactic space prison housing the universe's worst criminals. Scientists believe that organic compounds found on the planet's surface could be useful for creating an off-world space Australia, where strength is the only law. However, they caution it is too early to say whether or not fights among the space jail's prisoners would be broadcast here on Earth for the entertainment of wealthy gamblers. But NASA's lead researchers do say that Mercury's ability to support human life raises important questions about who the prison guards would be.
Perhaps the guards themselves would be space mercenaries, or maybe we'd just use robots.
The robots would have guns for hands.
Well, obviously.
Critics inside NASA caution against funneling too many resources into the Mercury project when it would be so much cooler to build a prison on the moon ruled by clones of the prisoners themselves. Researchers encourage the public to read their findings, which have been released in the form of a graphic novel titled The Mercury Cipher.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Talk about whatever is on your mind. That's 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
And Mark, you're attending Freedom Fest.
I am, from July the 17th through the 20th. It's at the Paris in Las Vegas, and it's an amazing event. People like Penn Jillette and Lenore Skenazy, Candace Owen, John Mackey, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist, John Stossel, Justin Amash, Glenn Beck, Herman Cain, Mike Lee, Kevin Sorbo, Thomas Massey. They're all going to be there, and it's going to be a big event. It's the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world, and you can tell by the people who are going to be there that it is going to be big. And it's not just for conservatives or liberals or, libertarians or whatever it might be. It's for open-minded people who want to mingle together and hear real debates and share real solutions and converse freely. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your ticket. Please come hang out with us, Free Talk Live. We're going to be broadcasting there, and it's going to be a great time. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 to get a discount. You get $50 off. freedomfest.com/FTL. And at that website, you will get, if you'd like to see what it might be like ahead of time, you get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. freedomfest.com/FTL. It's July 17th through the 20th at the Paris in Las Vegas. Come enjoy us. Enjoy hanging out with us. It's just like 2 weeks away. That's freedomfest.com/FTL.
Yeah, I will not be attending this year, but I'm hoping that next year I will be free to attend. I just have other priorities at the moment. Let's get right back into it. We've got Taylor, who is calling via the Discord lines at discord.lrn.fm. Taylor, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, I wanted to share an experience. I was at Disney World last week for a basketball tournament, and I didn't know this until we got there. We went in and paid at the booth, and as we were going into their sports area, there's a little kiosk there where you scan your card, but you have to put your fingerprints there to link the card to yourself, and then they have cameras there also.
Wow.
And I would have never thought that all that is right there just to get into a Disney World facility.
Yeah, I remember the fingerprint thing from, it has to be almost 10 years ago that I went to Disney World with my son, and they were doing fingerprints then too. I guess I'm unsurprised. Disney World's just growing their machine.
Yeah, so you really never know what they're doing with. I mean, there's a camera there. You don't know if they're linking your purchase to your fingerprint and then your face. Like, you never know what.
They're doing everything they can with it. I mean, imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you're collecting important data, what we were taught in the marketing business 10 years ago was collect all the information you can collect, and it's yours. You get to keep it. Once they give it to you voluntarily, it's yours. Do what you want with it.
Yep. So I just wanted to share that from my experience, since I heard you all talking about the DMV and police officer issue. I would have never thought that they had that at Disney, but that's just how it is. And then if you want to go on their property, you have to go through that.
Right.
Through that scenario.
Yeah, and they're willing to. Yeah, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. They're willing to give up some small percentage of sales, probably some small fraction of a percentage of sales.
Well, I'm sure that, it's being used relatively innocuously by Disney, which is one of the largest corporations in the United States right now, as I understand it. I mean, they're absolutely massive. But I'm sure as far as uses go, it's probably more along the lines of, okay, this person went to this restaurant and ate this type of food, and we can identify him because he had his picture taken when he first came in, and now his face has been recognized on this video camera, and we can pay attention to what he's eating, so we can send him additional coupons next year.
Well,
and be like, look, we'll give you 10% off if you eat at this restaurant. Come back to Disneyland. It's a way of figuring out what your interests are.
And don't forget that Disney is one of the largest corporations in the world. And it's growing. It doesn't just own Disney; it owns lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And as they increase their marketing power with new technology, they're going to have more and more influence over your life. I'm just taking a guess here, but I think Disney's going to be able to crush Netflix in a very short period of time.
Well, it wasn't just Disney, though, but Netflix is certainly, it's waning. And a large part of that is because most of the television shows and the movies that people actually want to watch have instead been sectioned off onto their own networks. If you want to watch, shows that are featured on Adult Swim, you have to sign up and pay for Cartoon Network's monthly service. If you want shows that are featured on HBO, you have to watch HBO's. If you want to watch Disney movies, you have to sign up for Disney's streaming service.
Right. And what's it going to be like for Amazon Prime and Netflix here in the next couple of years when Star Wars and Marvel are ripped out from underneath them? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen.
I thought Star Wars had already been ripped out from under Netflix.
I don't know. I mean,
I've never even looked for the Marvel movies.
I don't use Netflix, so I don't know. I use Amazon Prime, but I'm not likely to watch a Star Wars movie. Basically, whatever love I had for Star Wars went away as Marvel grew.
Fair point.
For me, it's all about the Marvel movies. But
I just watched Endgame. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's an awesome series. Endgame was was quite an emotional roller coaster for me. I can't wait for Phase 4 to get fleshed out. I did get a chance to see Far From Home, and it was a great movie. That's the Spider-Man movie for those that don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know.
Right, I don't expect anybody to know what I know about Marvel movies.
I'm happy to hear the continuation of these actors. Because for me, it is largely about the actors. I don't want to see all of these people recast as they reboot the Marvel series, which has happened over and over again in comic book movies, right? They'll go, oh, well, it's time to use Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. And then a few years later, oh, we're going to reboot the entire thing. Batman has the same thing happen. I would much rather see these people portrayed by actors that I've come to know and love continue on developing their stories, because there's plenty of places it can still go.
Sure.
I think Marvel probably went a bit too high, a bit too soon, but then again, they were 20-something movies into this.
Yeah, 23 or something. Yeah. It's,
I want more Iron Man movies.
That's the problem. You can have more Iron Man movies, but you can't have more Robert Downey Jr. movies.
Well, then they won't be Iron Man movies.
Well, even in the comics, Iron Man passed the suit on to a young woman named Riri Williams. And
don't say that on the internet today. You'll be accused of pandering to women.
Well,
You're pandering to the left.
I think they probably were.
How dare you cast a woman as Iron Man? Hold on, that is
it's
kind of
not just
weird.
a woman. It was a woman of color.
Did she go by Iron Woman?
I think she had some other term that they moved her over to later. But anyway, there she was.
Interesting. Well, I would love to see Robert Downey Jr. come back for the role, but as I understand it, he has said that he's not going to.
He shouldn't. He's done great work. You don't go and try to, Michelangelo isn't going to go try to paint a painting that's better than the Mona Lisa. You got to do something different. Go on and do something different. He did great work.
Excellent point. 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is, the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market, economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com. Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves and tell us whatever is on your mind. That number's 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark.
Let's get straight back into the phones. We got Tom calling in from Hudson, New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
About a group called Reclaim the Records. What they do is they go out after some genealogy records that the bureaucrats don't want to be open up, and so the bureaucrats say, oh no, we can't give out those, or it's at our discretion. We're not going to give you those records, so sometimes they have to sue them for it. Like, some marriage records are not open to the public, but the index to the marriages is open to the public in New York City. And the hilarious thing is that starting July 24th, 2011, same-sex so-called marriages became legal in the state of New York, and the records were not open to the public. But they sued, and they got the index with all the names of the parties to the marriages. And, you know, if somebody's got a name like Robert and they got married, so to speak, to somebody named George, that does give people a hint that, gee, maybe they shouldn't be working in a Catholic school like that, stuff like that. So, you know, some of these queers are trying to be discreet, and they thought that everything was going to be hush hush and and confidential.
I don't think they were ever trying to be hush hush.
Welcome to freedom.
I mean, there may be some people out there who are like, hey, we should probably keep this information quiet because our livelihoods demand we not be gay or whatever because we work in Catholic schools. But those are generally not going to be the people who are getting gay married in front of the state that, makes records of these things.
This is an issue that has torn Quakerdom apart. So there's two...
gay marriage or marriage in general?
Gay marriage.
Okay.
Sort of basically there's FUM, the Friends United meeting, and then FGC, Friends General Council, I think. And they have different philosophies on this gay marriage thing, and then gays working for the organization and stuff like that. And as a result, torn asunder. Like the groups just won't even speak to each other anymore. You can't get any...
So the Quakers had a little proper schism.
Basically.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I mean, because as you've described Quakers, it's an idea that, revelation from God is an ongoing thing.
Right. And some people don't like other people's revelations.
Yeah.
Let me point out something else here. In Texas, the marriage indexes that they post on a state website give the names and the ages and what county they got their license from to help narrow it down which John Smith is which. And they put that, it's a couple of years outdated, a couple of years behind schedule, but they put that on a state website. And in Indiana, the Supreme Court gets the reports from the different counties for the marriage licenses, and they put a search box on the Indiana Supreme Court website. And it's just a matter of time before some blabbermouth calls up Free Talk Live and over radio stations that, affiliates that are in Indiana, like WGBF Evansville and WIMS Michigan City, or the 1 hour during the week when WOMI Owensboro, Kentucky happens to be carrying Free Talk Live. They might go and tell all these Indiana residents that they can find that out.
I'm curious here. Is it, you mentioned Reclaim the Records, is that just about marriage records?
Oh, no, it's any genealogy-related records that they feel should be public under the Freedom of Information laws of the different states. And then the county clerks or the city clerks say, oh, no, we're not going to give you those, sometimes in defiance of state law, and then they have to sue them. And sometimes they win, and they get their legal fees refunded to them because they won in a lawsuit like this.
Do you agree? Do you agree that whether or not two people are married should be public information?
Oh, absolutely. This would be a perfect way to deter the queers from pursuing such shameful
I'm transsexual,
behaviors.
right?
Well, that's your choice, though.
So I think that...
But why are you trying to deter me from that choice?
I don't think the government should be involved in marriage at all, which I'm sure all of us actually agree. But, once you petition, once a large group of people petition the government for, please give us this extra little level of tyranny that you're giving the rest of the world, then...
something else?
Then there are going to be consequences.
in Florida, when you register to vote, you get a voter registration ID number. Then that when you move to another county, you're supposed to have the same Florida voter number. So that means that when George becomes Janet and changes from being male to female, but the same voter number applies, that means people can look up comparing 1 month voter list with another. They can find out perhaps thousands of these trans voters, and then it's all public information that, like 2 years ago, the same voter ID number pertained to somebody.
I get your point.
Why do we want to know if somebody's gender's changed? Why do you want to know that information?
It's a weird thing, certainly. Tom, thank you so much for the call. In order to, I certainly...
Thanks for your weird obsessions, Tom.
Yeah, they were weird. It was weird. What threw me off was that it was about reclaiming the records, yet he fixated entirely on gay marriage, right? But evidently you can reclaim several records, several types of records anyway, but it's certainly a problem to have this sort of social security number system or voter registration number system, whatever system it is. If people can cross-reference it and go, oh, okay, well, this person used to be named Bob, but he's changed his name now to...
Roberta.
Oh, just to Jim or Thomas or whatever, not even, being transsexual or transgender or whatever terminology the left would like me to use. Just, I don't want to go by this name anymore. I'm a new person. I'm a Buddhist now. I want to change my name to this. And they go, oh, but look, here's your old life here. No, it doesn't work that way. We're the internet detectives, and we're going to snoop you out.
There you go.
It's problematic. We shouldn't have these sort of registration systems, whether they're being done at the county level, the state level, or the federal level.
Yeah, I really would ask the question is, what does the government need all the information that they collect for? Like, what do they need?
It's a scary thought.
For? Why do they even need to know you're married at all? I don't care if you're heterosexual, homosexual, or multisexual. I don't care.
Yeah.
Why do they need to know that you're married? Shouldn't they be treating married people and single people similarly? Like, this is important?
Yeah. The government is supposed to provide justice, and justice is supposed to be blind. So why are these details that don't have anything whatsoever to do with an actual individual and the actions they may or may not take? Generally speaking, because we can find criminal behavior among people who are single, people who are gay, people who are straight, people who are married. It doesn't really matter. They may exist in different quantities, but that shouldn't matter to the government when it comes time for law enforcement and law punishment. But it seems to. It's scary. Why would the government need to know that you're gay? I've seen people arguing, especially people among the left, that we need national databases of people who are autistic or who have some sort of other disability, so that police know not to shoot those kids when they encounter them and things like that. And, we can use facial recognition software in order to identify this. Like, did you not read any history? Do you not really understand how this is going to play out?
It's not going to go well.
This is not going to be good for the people with autism and for the people with disabilities. It has never been good for them. You're talking about basically making police aware as soon as they see someone, making the government, making the state aware as soon as it sees someone that, oh, he's gay.
Yeah, I think we'd be better off if just get some good training from police on how to handle situations, as opposed to, I don't understand what's going on here, let's shoot him. And if you don't think that happens, you just got to find out what happens to people with epilepsy when they're having a seizure and cops come along and think that they're doing drugs in their car or whatever.
Are you referring to that guy they tased?
Oh, it's not just one guy. No.
Yeah.
I mean, they've busted windows out, drug them out through the window, beat them on the pavement. It happens all the time. We just need better training there.
Absolutely deplorable. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE. Let us know what you think, or if you disagree.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-919-5435. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-919-5435. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-919-5435. 1-800-919-5435.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves anytime you like, live 7 days a week. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And Mark. I want to tell you about the Amplifier program. You go to amp.freetalklive.com and you can join the AMP program, just like Jonathan has. Jonathan is a platinum amplifier, which means that he's giving $25 a month. But we're asking for $5 a month. Just go there, help us to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. We don't use the money for hookers and blow or whatever. We're simply using that money to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. And I think it's because of the amplifiers that we're on 200 radio stations and get more than 100,000 downloads of once a month or per month of Free Talk Live. And we can get more. It's really just advertising. amp.freetalklive.com. Thank you, Jonathan.
Let's go straight back into the phones. We've got Jacob calling in from Washington. Jacob, you are on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How's it going? I
just sitting here in rush hour traffic in here, good old state of Washington with the highest road taxes, but the worst roads in the union. Well,
I don't know.
top
New York
three.
cities are pretty bad.
It doesn't matter how much money you give the government; they'll mess it up.
Oh God, it's beautiful here. You know, I mean, it's just I'm being completely facetious.
It is. It is
I heard
beautiful.
you guys- it is. The roads suck, but
It's beautiful.
It's a great place. Yep, love it. God, you guys kept talking, so I was taking notes. So
Sorry
I was
about
like,
that.
Wow, no, it's great. I love it. I got nothing better to do, right? So, except for stare at cars.
So what did you call in to
so
discuss?
Originally, I was a fisherman up in Alaska for a long time, and I'll get to the point real quick. A lot of the, pots, I was a Bering Sea crabber, right? So a lot of the pots we'd pull up, we'd get like foreign bags and like pollution just off the bottom of the ocean.
Sure.
And we get it all the time. And it was never the U.S. litter, right? And I'll get to my point here in a second. So, we're not thinking much of it back then. And and it sounds like Mark and I are close to the same age. And so it was like, we're just fishing going, wow, these countries, India, China, Russia, I mean, they're just pollution throughout the whole Bering Sea. Well, me and my wife homeschool our kids, and just recently we got them on this app, my youngest, who's 8, and it's got just vast information, and it's up to date. So this year they came out with this new episode on this app, and it's got a bunch of scientists. I think it's linked to Nat Geo, but I'm not quite sure. I walked in the middle of it after getting off of work, and they were talking about a new discovery that most of our oxygen actually comes from the ocean. And when the plankton dies on the ocean, it releases oxygen. And then that works with the trees on every shore. So the majority of our oxygen and what we need is actually coming from the ocean. Then I started going, wait a minute, everything I saw in the Bering Sea, and it can't be getting better.
Right.
So
no, we know it's not. There's the garbage spot or whatever the heck they call it.
Garbage Island or whatever.
Yeah. I got. Yep.
Yeah, it's massive.
And and I'm like, okay, well, we're kind of focused, big surprise, on the wrong things here. If we were going to focus, and the government really was up to snuff, which there never are, as we all know, on this call, and listening, well, most of us, it's they're always behind the ball. And so when I take a look at it, how are we suffering? Well, it's now the oceans, man. It's like we're killing ourselves through polluting the oceans, not taking down trees, not any of the other stuff that we thought we were. Now we're realizing, and it's now that we just got the technology with the satellites to be able to scan the areas and see where the oxygen is being produced. And now we know.
Right, and there are people, inventors right now that are trying to figure out ways to clean up the garbage patch, is what it's called, the Great Garbage Patch. Yeah. And it's not going to be governments that figure this stuff out. It's going to be inventors that care about the ocean. So appreciate the call. Keep listening.
Let's get right back into it. We've got Wesley calling in, recently moved to New Hampshire. Wesley, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going? So I wanted to ask Mark, can you pay in crypto for the AMP thing?
Yes. So for the amplifier program, you can pay in BTC. That's the sort of the original Bitcoin. It is.
I am disappointed to hear you can't pay in BCH.
At this point, there just aren't programs to do that. You should talk to Ian about it. I'd love, and I'm sure Roger Ver would love for it to be a situation where you can pay in BCH. But at this moment in time, BTC is the only thing that we can accept through. And I think it's because Coinbase only allows it that way. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. But if you go to amp.freetalklive.com, I think they have the instructions are listed there.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I also wanted to ask, what do you guys think is like the most practical or useful way to achieve libertarianism within our lifetime?
Man, it's a tough thing to say. But I would go ahead and say that I think that working towards a world where cryptocurrency is ubiquitous is probably the best thing that one can do at this moment. I will be rolling out relatively soon a project that I believe is going to be worth looking at if you want to live in a significantly more free, economically free world. If you've got a specific freedom that you want, right, like you want to smoke pot or you want to get gay married or, you want to do one of those things, look at the political designations that allow those things to happen. You'll have a better life. But if you want to have economic freedom, it's difficult to find that location. I think that as a young man, I might be looking at Southeast Asia, Singapore, places like this where my, much as simply my skill of speaking English and being an American will increase my pay. But, those are things that you've got to figure out for yourself. As far as creating more liberty, it's a tough question. A lot of people have worked on it for a long time and had marginal to zero results.
Yeah, other than cryptocurrency, I'm not sure it can be achieved in our lifetimes. I think we need to continue spreading the ideology and hoping for the best. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I think the opportunity for actual liberty is going to come in centuries when we have the technology to colonize other stars, other planets, orbiting other stars. I guess that's how I should phrase it. Because we will need the distance. Like if you were to set up a free anarchic society here in the United States, it would actually be a free society. It would be the economic powerhouse of the world within months. And the United States, the other states of the world, are not going to just sit back and watch that happen because it reveals their own system to be inferior. I think they would immediately invade.
I don't know that if you just sort of opened the door on an economically free place. There are economically free places in the world right now. Like, for instance, Pitcairn Island comes to mind. There are 43 people who are citizens of the smallest British autonomous zone or whatever the hell it's called, territory, overseas territory or something like that. And they could at any point just say, we're our own country. But they don't, because they like the welfare that comes from Britain. But they're so remote, they can't do trade. You have to be able to trade to have prosperity.
Or you have to have enough
It's
people.
freedom and the proximity to other people that makes for freedom, that makes for economic freedom.
I would agree with that. But we may not be able to get enough people onto an island or some designated area in order to actually have all of the chemists, all of the scientists, all of the factory workers that we're going to need to actually extract elements from the earth and build them into useful things. But I think around the time of, actually going out there and colonizing other planets, which I realize sounds just totally crazy to most people, but what they have to realize is humanity is only like 100,000 years old. And society, as we understand it, is only like 7,000 to 10,000 years old.
Yeah, the state is probably 9,000 years old.
We are on our way to that point. It is going to happen.
Right, and there was a war to stop chattel slavery in the United States only like 160 years ago. So the concept of people owning people, at this point, all we have to do is really just sort of explain the government is an organization of people that claim to own you. And once you can get people to grok that, then they're like, oh, wait, they told me slavery was bad.
We're back tomorrow night, but in the meantime, head on over to freetalklive.com. We have archives there going back more than a decade. So, go check that out. 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard tomorrow.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against